What's going on, folks? Recording my first Best Ball Mania 5 draft. Well, technically my second Best Ball Mania 5 draft, but the first one I'm recording. So I was a little hesitant to jump into the drafts right off the bat, especially before the schedule, because I generally only want to do that if I think there's a reason to. Like that the market's way off. Like last year when I looked at the market, I was just like, there's nothing that's really super standing out to me. So I'm just gonna chill. But I actually do think that right now there's a big advantage to be had with Ezekiel Elliott being way down around 14, 15 area. So I'm going to try to scoop up some of him for now. So I still think there's a really good chance that Dallas ends up with another running back on this team. They have added Royce Freeman, Zeke, and brought back Dowdle. So, I'm not saying it's above 50% chance that Dallas adds a running back, but I think they're going to be looking around at the free agents, a trade market, who might become available. So I don't think 100% that they're done. Like even though they have Freeman, Dowdle, and Zeke now, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they made a trade for someone like Braylon Allen and cut Royce Freeman. So obviously we won't know that for quite a while. In the Spike Week chat today, we were talking a lot about Zeke, and people were saying how he should be up near pick 100, which I'm not doing, but if I'm very steadfast on not wanting him at pick 100, then I should probably try to scoop some up right now when he's in around 13, 14, 15, 16 area. Because if he does end up their lead running back, even if he's splitting some work, he's going to be worth the value at those picks. Once you get to pick 100, you're starting to get him near Zamir White and Javante, and I'll just take those guys 100 times out of 100. So over him. Benson and Zeke would be a question. I would take Jonathan Brooks over Zeke. I have Jonathan Brooks over Benson now just because I would rather bet that Jonathan Brooks is healthy week one than have to bet that James Conner isn't healthy. But I do like Benson still just fine. I just don't like him as much as I like Brooks now. Brooks is definitely my top ranked out of the running backs. Pick 109 here, which is nice. So pretty clearly be able to take a non-running back, which is what we always want to do. Because taking a running back is disgusting and no one should ever do it. And taking running backs is bad, so don't do it. I mean, if they make us take Brees Hall or Bijan, we will. But I imagine that doesn't happen to us. So probably taking AJ Brown. I have him ranked over Puka. I prefer AJ Brown to Puka, but if it gets too out of control and I end up taking a whole bunch of AJ Brown and no Puka, then I'll probably start taking some Puka ahead of AJ Brown. But for now, to start off, I'm going to take AJ Brown over Puka. So I would be glad to take Amon-Ra, but I will also be glad to take AJ Brown here. Guess we'll switch to this view after I make my pick. So nothing too crazy here. This is how pretty much I have the wide receivers ranked and where I would take them. Okay. So we could have some interest in a running back on the way back. Not super interested in them, but we'll kind of see what's available. I would expect Garrett Wilson to go at this pick. I think the top 11. Ooh, Garrett Wilson goes 12, so never mind. I was about to say I think the top 11 will be pretty consensus, but that fellow took Gibbs. Saquon goes before us. I'm pretty happy with that. Jonathan Taylor goes before us. Huh. Well, I'll definitely be taking a wide receiver here. It's either going to be Marvin Harrison or Devontae Adams. I have Adams ranked 12 and Harrison ranked 13. So I'm going to end up with a buttload of Devontae Adams this year. An absolute buttload. I wouldn't have let Kyron slip too much further. I moved Kyron below Adams, Harrison, and Drake London. After Drake London, I have Neighbors, Debo, and Mike Evans as all kind of like a mini tier for me. I think Mike Evans is like really undervalued, and I only have 2% in the previous contests because I was like pretty stubborn. Like, even though I thought he was like a really good value, I was just like, nah, give me Chris Olave because he's younger. But like, really, come on, like, is Chris Olave scoring as many points as Mike Evans? I doubt it. And I am a Saints fan, so, but I just don't see how that happens. I mean, obviously injury, but other than that, I don't see how Chris Olave can outscore Mike Evans. I like Mike Evans better than the two Houston guys. There's just like a bunch of mouths there, whereas Mike Evans' situation is pretty much like the same. Mike Evans versus Waddle is definitely a discussion for me. So I'm pretty high on Waddle compared to where he's ranked, but so coming back, we'll probably have the option of Jalen Hurts or maybe DK Metcalf, Devonta Smith. Probably not going to take Devonta Smith and AJ Brown on the same team very often. Might do it like once in Best Ball Mania because I'm only doing 60, either 60 or 80 entries into Best Ball Mania. I have a few investors this year that are buying some of my actions, so I'll probably have 80, I'm guessing, but maybe even 100. But I'll have a minimum of 60, a maximum of 100. Love the payout structure this year. It is amazing. Thank God they actually listened to their customers. Fucking disaster last year. A lot of us grinned and bared it, and we're just like, you know what? We're going to play anyway. But yeah, it was ugly. I do like Hurts quite a bit. Probably who I'm going to look at picking with my pick. I actually have Hurts ranked first for quarterbacks because I feel like Josh Allen kind of lost a bit too much. Cooper Kupp getting pulled up to the other end of the board. I really, really like doing this, but not this early in the draft season. I mean, I don't mind doing it this early in the draft season, but it's not like I don't think it's quite the weapon that it is later in the draft season when you actually know which players are rarely ever pulled up there. You know, like maybe like Puka goes down and then Cooper Kupp just is always picked here, and so you don't really get the uniqueness of having pulled them up. That's why I don't like doing it as much at the beginning. I do have interest in Michael Pittman if he is still on the board when we pick. Okay, I'm going to take Pittman over Hurts then. I'll let the Devonta Smith person either get Hurts. Maybe he'll drop back to me, and if not, I'll take a chance that I get Anthony Richardson in round 5. Josh Jacobs was available there. I would have just taken Jalen Hurts, but a chance to take a wide receiver I like more. Was too juicy. So Hurts does go. That's fine. It's the same person that takes Josh Allen, which is weird. But whatever. I sure am not liking the wide receivers that are available a ton. Could go with Kelsey. We could go with Trey McBride. Kind of prefer Trey McBride. Not into these wide receivers. I don't want to take Lamar Jackson. Don't really want to take ETN. I'm just going to take Trey McBride. This is like a really nice side of the board to get Kyler. So maybe we'll do that if we miss Anthony Richardson. Kyler's pick 85, so it's possible to get him. We should be on the other side, right? So we have pick 81, right? And the Marvin Harrison person's behind us. So we could cut Kyler off if he gets, obviously somebody else could take him, but we're the two most likely to take him, and we could cut him off at pick 81. So if Anthony Richardson doesn't drop to me here at 57, I'm open to taking Kyler 81. I could take both too, which I don't really mind. So having a little debate about Rashad Bateman versus Tez Walker ceilings there with somebody from Spike Week, and they were saying Bateman has a higher ceiling because of his college profile. I would disagree with that. So Bateman's college profile obviously way, way, way better than Devontae Walker's profile, so I don't disagree with that statement that person made. But for me, if you've played in the league now for like 3+ years, like Rashad Bateman has, and you haven't done anything that's close to what your college production said you could, then that's out the window to me. I do not care. Your profile is bullshit. Like, it doesn't matter to me anymore. You have failed. You have failed to reach that potential. So if Anthony Richardson's gone, a couple players I will be interested in are Jaden Reed and Terry McLaurin. Don't really see any world in which I'm taking a running back, except maybe if James Cook were to drop all the way down to us, but that doesn't feel likely. Don't really like this person taking Mahomes with like no other Chiefs pieces. James Cook goes. Pretty nice start for this person setting up for a Caleb double. I'm way different than a lot of other people's opinions that I've heard on Rome Odunze. Like, I don't think that he's the wide receiver 3. And there's a lot of reasons why I think it's a lot different than JSN last year in Seattle. So people are like, well, Keenan Allen's a veteran and Rome Odunze will be the wide receiver 3. I don't think he will be, because I think Keenan Allen's going to be just playing the slot, so I don't think the Odunze will be off the field on 2 wide receiver sets. I think he'll be playing. And it's just a lot different situation. Like, Keenan Allen wasn't in Chicago last year. He wasn't a vet that had a spot that you now have to go take from him. So, like, obviously Keenan Allen is better than Lockett, but also I think Odunze is better than JSN. Plus, Odunze, is like an outside wide receiver, where Keenan Allen is not. And JSN was more of a tweener, which was similar to Lockett. But most importantly, in my opinion, is that Keenan Allen is also going into this new situation where he has to gain a role, the same as Odunze is. It's not like one is the incumbent and one's just some rookie that they brought in, like in Seattle with pick 22. Chicago used a top 10 pick on Odunze. Odunze is an outside wide receiver. Keenan Allen is not. So is there a chance that Keenan Allen plays in 2 wide receiver sets and Odunze doesn't? Yes. And that would probably suck if, if you pick Odunze as high as you have to pick him. But I find that an acceptable risk. Going to take either Jaden Reed, Calvin Ridley, or Terry McLaurin with my pick. Those guys are above Brian Thomas for me. I don't actually think Brian Thomas is all that good of a player. I think he's okay. He's more like a Jahan Dotson level prospect to me than anything super special. I know he has really good athletic testing, but we'll just take Terry here, I think. Any reason not to? Yeah, I'm going to take Terry here. Did briefly consider Ken Walker, but kind of like to get my 4 wide receivers in there. Like Terry quite a bit. Terry sets me up for Jaden Daniels later, which I like a lot. We obviously could still pick Terry or Kyler if we want to, but we might probably not do that. So Jaden Daniels is pick 127. He's probably not making it to us at pick 129. So if we're going to take Daniels, we have to take him at 112. If we're going to take Kyler, we'd have to take him at 81. We don't have to take either of them, but just food for thought there. I do like to correlate my quarterbacks with my earlier picks if possible, because they tend to be the players that can actually carry a quarterback in a given week. So I'll probably have a lot of Justin Jefferson where I punt QB2 and just go ahead and go with JJ McCarthy, because if Justin Jefferson goes absolutely berserk in week 17, then he probably drags JJ McCarthy along to at least be like a startable quarterback that week. Whereas, a good week for Jordan Addison might not be enough to drag along JJ McCarthy, because a Jordan Addison good week is so much less than a Justin Jefferson spike week is. I mean, there was the week last year where Addison went berserk with 2 touchdowns. So obviously there's that, but Addison is going to have less of those weeks than Justin Jefferson will over the course of time. So it's more likely that Justin Jefferson is the one that drags McCarthy to a smash than Addison. So I do like to correlate my earlier players more with my quarterback if I can. So I'm going to be interested in a running back at my pick. Tight end. We're in a really good, on this right side of the board, I really like just waiting and taking Freiermuth at 136. So he's usually there, and I have him ranked tight end 12. I hate tight end this year. I hate it. I have Freiermuth tight end 12, Hunter Henry tight end 13, Goddard tight end 14, and after that, just disgusting. With Anthony Richardson, we could obviously take a shot on Jelani Woods. I don't really want to do a 2 tight end build with Jelani Woods. And since I have McBride, I really only want to take 2 tight ends, so I'm probably not going to do that. I will absolutely obliterate the draft button on Calvin Ridley if he makes it to me, but I suspect that doesn't happen. I also have interest in Deontay, Godwin. I would not hate taking Evan Ingram and just being done at tight end. I don't hate taking Ramondre. Kyler's still on the board. Evan Ingram goes. Godwin and Deontay interests me. Don't mind waiting at quarterback for Jaden Daniels. This kind of buys us some time. I would have to reach on Jaden Daniels and think about that a little bit more. how much do I really want Godwin? Doesn't do it for me a ton. I like Stevenson quite a bit. I think in the 2v2s, I'm just happy to take Stevenson here and let Godwin go. I have Stevenson over Connor and Mostert, so unfortunately, you're just going to end up with way too much Stevenson. But so it be. Comes back around to us. We could consider Kyler still if he's still there. I would suspect that this guy takes Kyler, right? He doesn't have a quarterback. Oh, the Marvin Harrison guy took Love because he has Jaden Reed. Huh. I guess we could play the 2v2 game where we take Kyler. I don't hate that. Now that we've taken Stevenson. Still Brock Bowers, which is nice to just be like done at tight end too. Which is certainly something to consider. Could get Bowers to go with McBride, right? And then Jaden Daniels to go with Richardson. Burglar goes. Okay, Kyler goes in front of us. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Take Bowers. And decide if I want to reach on Jaden Daniels or not. We have two Las Vegas guys here, so we could punt QB2 and go down to Minshew. Don't really love that, though. So I'd probably have to take a running back my next pick, and then Jaden Daniels if I want him. Or I could risk pushing Jaden Daniels. I think with the idea that we really want to try to take advantage of Zeke in this window, I wouldn't hate reaching on Jaden Daniels. But let's see what options we have available to us. Probably going to hold off on wide receiver 5 for a while. Pretty happy to get Brett Bowers at that discount. I don't love the landing spot for Bowers either, but don't hate it either. It's kind of like a little worse than neutral to me. I want to look and see where Jaden Daniels went in my other draft. Is he going like ahead of ADP in my other draft? Did he go behind ADP? Where did you go? I've noticed he went at pick 128 in my other draft, which I think is maybe our pick. We were 129. Interesting. I'm pretty fine just hanging out with these 4 wide receivers for a bit. I'll probably do a 2-6-8-2 build, so do get some late firepower at wide receiver that way. Jaden Daniels goes in round 9, so we will not be taking Jaden Daniels. That's all right. Sorry about that. So a lot of thought to that for no good reason. Could do something where we set up Bo Nix, maybe. Take like Cortland Sutton or Troy Franklin at some point. Can always set up a late Daniel Jones. Could take Gardner Minshew. I'm probably going to try to wait until Gardner Minshew actually gets named the starter to really strongly consider that. But I imagine like most the running backs are actually decent. Go off the board before I pick here. There is one or two running backs I would really like to see make it to my pick. I need one of these people not to pick a running back. Please God, just one of you guys don't take the 3 running backs I want. Don't do it. Pick any other position. Pick a non-running back. Yes. Okay. Now I'm happy. I'm either taking Javonte or Jonathan Brooks, and pretty excited for either one of those. Don't mind Brian Robinson or Zach Moss either. Could take Adonai Mitchell because we have Richardson stack going, but he's gone. Guess I'll just take Javonte. It helps if I do kind of want to end up doing like a Bo Nix thing later, which I might want to do. I'm pretty happy to get Jonathan Brooks, Robinson, or Zach Moss. Even Devin Singletary as well. Wide receivers, I could consider Cortland Sutton, but Troy Franklin's at like pick 125. I doubt he's still there when we pick. Yeah, Brooks goes. Between Brian Robinson and Zach Moss, I like the upside of Zach Moss slightly more. They're kind of close. Altogether, pretty reasonably happy with this team so far. Would have liked to get Jaden Daniels, so we would have basically been taking him here over Zach Moss. I think I would have done that after getting Javonte. Obviously, I would have liked to get Jonathan Brooks back in this pick, but that was just not in the cards for us. Wide receivers are going to start to roll off the board now. Yeah, it seems like Jaden Daniels is probably going to start going like way, way higher than he was. So like even the small reach that I was considering probably start going a lot earlier than that. So the earliest I would consider Zeke maybe is pick 160 or 177. So to kind of look at who's on the board when I make those picks. Not really sure what else I'm going to do at quarterback. Drake May, who's pretty easy to back stack with the rookies. He'd probably have to be there at pick 153 for me to do that. Interesting. I'd love if Troy Franklin was there when I picked again, but there's just no way that that's a possible thing. He just will not be. Could take Leggett. Really don't want to do anything with Bryce Young. So there's that. think Marvin Mims is pretty dead now that Troy Franklin went to the Broncos, although I guess I could still trade Cortland Sutton, but I just don't think anybody's going to pay much for Cortland Sutton, so I think he just ends up playing the year in Denver. Mm-hmm. There goes Franklin. Josh Downs, I don't have much interest in either, even at a discount. So there's a couple of running backs I still really like on the board. After that, there's a pretty big drop off at running back for me. That's not what I wanted to see. One of them was Gus, and he was the less expensive one, so I thought there was actually a chance we were getting Gus, whereas there's no chance we're getting Devin Singletary. I guess I don't need tight end lit up anymore. Yeah, running back just gets real gross. Real gross. Like I said, I'm not really into Josh Downs. Jacoby Myers is like, okay, but I'm not taking him on this team that already has Adams and Bowers. Chuba Hubbard, I couldn't have less interest in now. Blake Corum, it's like fine as like a premium handcuff, but seems a bit expensive. This pick is going to be rough. Okay, this pick will not be rough. Somehow Devin Singletary did actually make it back to me. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would kind of like to take wide receiver at this pick, but I like going all the way down to Leggett and pulling him up. Maybe. Don't love it. Josh Palmer is like fine, but I kind of want to swing for a bigger ceiling. Charbonnet is fine, but I feel like if I wait at wide receiver, like then I'm just getting into guys that are like not enough upside. So yeah, I'm gonna take Leggett. I guess in a perfect world, my next two picks would be something like Drake May and Zeke, but I'm not too sure that we are that lucky. So we're just going to end up with the one stack piece for Anthony Richardson. That's fine with me. I would always consider Adonai Mitchell, who went the pick before us. Probably wasn't going to take him anyway, but that was more of a team construction thing than like a super. I'm never taking a Adonai Mitchell thing. Josh Downs, like now that he's really only playing in the slot, it's like, I'm not into Josh Downs anymore. He would be fine with me as like if he was in round 16, 17, 18, but not where he's going. Obviously, so there's some chance that like Mitchell just busts and Downs keeps his role, but I think they're going to give Zeke went like way early in this one. All right, so like maybe this window for Zeke really isn't open, and it was just that one draft. That's certainly possible. You're probably gonna like have a lot of variance in these drafts, so something to think about. I guess if we're into desperation stacks, we could always stack Wandell and Daniel Jones late, but I really don't like Daniel Jones without neighbors too much. Just one of those things, like kind of like JJ McCarthy, where if JJ McCarthy and Justin Jefferson, where like if that quarterback is doing what you need him to do, then that number one wide receiver is probably going absolutely berserk. Leggett is not a guy that I was like super high on before. I only had 6% in the big board, but given this opportunity, I think I like him quite a bit more now than I did before. Wow, Freiermuth in the 150s. So that's good. All right, we'll take Drake May and see about late stacking him. Polk is 171. Baker's like much later. When's our next pick? 177. So if we want Polk, we'd have to take him with our next pick. I guess it's just a matter of like what are we giving up to do it. Giving up some pretty good value at running back. We do already have Stevenson, so we have a pass catcher. I'd be pretty surprised if we can't get Javon Baker with our next pick at 177. So I don't think we're under any real pressure to get Polk just to get a stack piece. Wide receiver, I like Roman Wilson quite a bit. Don't mind Corley. I like Baker. I like Polk. Running back is interesting. Could go for something like Marshawn Lloyd or Kendra Miller. Probably take one of Lloyd Miller or Tyler Algier. It's either that or Roman Wilson. Kind of like Roman Wilson. So I'm either going to take Roman Wilson or Kendra Algier. I like Ray Davis as well. Get a little greedy. Take a little Roman Wilson action. So we're done at quarterback. Like to keep Polk in the mix, Javon Baker in the mix, Davis. Thanks. Someone took Ray Davis just as we were trying to put him in the queue. I like Kendre, Braylon Allen. I'm not taking Gibson because I have Ramondre. Same thing. I got to remember like not to take Estime. I really like Tyrone Tracy, running back for the Giants, but at this rate, like of me taking Devin Singletary, the Giants are not a team where I expected to be like, I'm going to take a Giants running back in every draft, but they might be a team where I take one of their running backs in pretty much every draft. I don't even think it would be that insane to handcuff Singletary Tracy because Singletary is like not expensive at all. So, and Tracy like can have this pass catching role that's pretty good. There's not a whole lot of stuff on this board that I like. Oof. Demario Douglas is like okay. I just think his like ceiling is so much lower than Javon Baker's. All right. Ugh. That sucked. That's so gross. Really wanted Kendra Miller. I suppose we'll just take Javon Baker. I mean, this is just poo. It's on the board. It's absolute poo. I was gonna try to push him to the next pick, but like I don't want any of this. So like Corley would have been okay, but like I'd just take the stack piece over Corley at the like they're close enough for me. Oof. Elijah Mitchell and Garendo are both interesting as San Francisco guys. There's like Kamani Vidal who's in the mix. This is just a very, very ugly group of running backs. Still Braylon Allen, who's like most likely to be the handcuff to Brees and like a high quality handcuff. So it's probably like not that much worse than Tyler Algier, except that you don't know that he's the handcuff for sure. But certainly seems like the most talented guy of those choices. So we definitely don't want Estime. Can we just be like done at wide receiver and then there's just nothing really even that stands out at wide receiver to take. Malik Washington's like fine, but yeah. I suppose I'll just take the highest ceiling guy. That pick does not amuse me very much. Could stop at 7 wide receivers and go 7 running backs. That would be pretty reasonable with this team. Our last pick could really be either one. I kind of like A.T. Perry. The Saints only added Bub Means in like round 5, and if you were to look at their college production, like A.T. Perry's was very, very good. And Bub Means was not that great. So, plus, A.T. Perry already has time in the Saints system. My God, camera, chill. So I think A.T. Perry will beat out Bub Means pretty easily. Maybe he can't beat out Cedric Wilson, but Vidal interests me, but he'll probably go before a pick. Garendo interests me. I guess Will Shipley does, sort of, a bit. Kind of. The end of these drafts are not that great. McCaffrey. I don't mind McMillan, Washington. But I think they're sort of like middling picks anyway. I'm like slightly excited for Washington if something were to like happen to one of the Dolphins guys. So I'll definitely be taking some of him, but I think he's probably slightly overrated because of how hyped we were for him to get like a landing spot where he probably had a chance at more volume than he does in Miami. But at least like he probably has like high contingent upside. I'm going to end up with too much Ramondre. I have to like sort of find someone else to start drafting some. Could just take A.T. Perry again, I guess. Nobody else is taking him, that's for sure. Vidal or Garendo? I guess Vidal. It's Damian Pierce. Don't love that. Just Tank Bigsby. Don't love that. Pretty unexcited with these running backs. Take Donta Foreman just to probably get some early season running back points, which this group probably doesn't really need, to be honest. We have 4 guys that have a chance to be starting running backs that can get us points. Then we have, a couple maybe handcuffs. They're at least rookies with high upside. Do we want Donta Foreman? I think Foreman's a really good pick for when you get stuck. You end up not getting the 0 RB guys that you really want, and you get pushed to the position where you don't have enough of this type of stuff where you think you're okay for the early season. So I went with a 7-7 build because there just wasn't much I was that interested in. I could have went either way with that last pick, whether it be running back or wide receiver. And I don't know. I felt like my wide receiver is either one of these 3 guys are going to hit or they're not. And I don't know. I guess adding another one might help, but. So we got Anthony Richardson, Drake May, tons of upside there. Pretty chill with that. Stevenson, Javonte, got a nice discount on Javonte. Moss got a big discount on Singletary. Braylon Allen, don't love the pick. I'm not even going to say we got a discount because this is probably the correct price. Kamani Vidal and Garendo, a couple of rookies with upside. Not the hardest backfields to build out. I will say, after talking in this week Discord, I will have Elijah Mitchell ranked ahead of Garendo, but I'm probably just going to draft both of them because I don't think the coaching staff really likes Elijah Mitchell all that much. So this is just something I've heard, the amount I've followed football for the last while. I just feel like I've heard Shanahan bitch about Elijah Mitchell being injured an awful lot of times. So running back group is pretty decent for a 0 RB room. Wide receivers got Brown, Adams, Pittman, McLaurin, Leggett, Roman Wilson, Javon Baker. Like this group quite a bit. I wouldn't hate an 8th wide receiver in this group, but I just felt like the pick was a little bit better used at running back. And obviously at tight end, we are golden with McBride and Bowers. Well, thanks for watching this one, and good luck in your drafts, folks.